What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dice House on a DCO commentary. Bringing this video here today because I want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, first and foremost, Olympus team registrations ended on Friday. Collecting up the final rosters from everybody and everything like that, as far as subs and everything. Today, actually, past couple of days, schedule will be out today. Starts up tomorrow. So if you guys haven't got your rosters into me by now. By the time you guys see this video, you guys got to get those rosters into me, so I can make sure I can finalize the schedule. That's for everybody out there. So if you're holding up on getting me your roster, you're holding up everybody right now. So, also, it's going to be an active schedule with the Olympus and everything. We're going to try and wrap up everything over a 3-week period. And then following that, we're going to take a week break because I've got SOE Live to go to. But mainly, the main reason why we're taking a break after that, before we do semis and the finals, is because we are having the finals matches are going to be aired on Friday Night Legends, the week following SOE Live. So I'm looking forward to that. This is like the first time that SOE's gotten behind a PvP event like this, that community event that the players have put together and everything, and participating like this. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that, and hoping this is the beginning of some really good things to come in that regards, as far as PvP events or any kind of event is concerned, for that matter. Also, I want to talk a little bit about, because this is going to be hitting like right in the middle of Olympus, most likely, as the recent update that is on the PC test server, update 28. I'm not going to get into detail about a lot of things. I'll give you guys a heads up though. If you running your tier 5 ops right now and you are getting like the reigns and stuff from in there, start keeping them, because we're going to be able to mod those with them. We're going to get a mod socket for those now, and each one's going to have their own personal innate that you're going to get from modding those sockets. So like the blue sockets will have dominance, healer reigns will have the tank reigns will have a blue socket for dominance. Healer reigns are going to have yellow sockets for restoration. Controller reigns will have yellow sockets for with a VIT bonus, and DPS reigns are going to have a red sockets with precision bonus. I'm kind of back and forth on the precision thing for the DPS on it, because like these the tier 5 raids especially really require a lot of range work in there. Not a lot of use for precision, but I like to use my weapon a lot too. Even though I'm a fire DPS, I like to use my weapon a lot when I'm DPSing. I may not put out the huge numbers or anything like that, but I'm never out of power. So there's that. Also, with this update, we're getting a 2v2 Legends Lair Battles map, so that's going to be nice to see. Also, getting some targeting improvements. The game's going to take into account, whether how far away a target is and everything like that, depending on soft targets, hard targets, and everything like that. And they've tweaked the blue immunity, the combat immunity that you get. They're going to be tweaking that too, where it's basically you're going to be. I think they reduce the amount of damage you can take at when you're in blue immune, have that blue immunity before the immunity wears off. If you burn through it or not. So there's actually maybe a chance of us burning through the immunity before the 3 seconds is up that lasts. They've done some things though. Everybody, this is what everybody's really up in a uproar about. Is the moving notes. Now, I'm going to have a link for these notes here in the description for you guys. Keep in mind, this is all test server stuff, so it's not live yet. So things are still subject to change. Some people are really vying for certain things, and other people are vying for nothing to be changed. But we're going to go over some of these things, and I'm going to give you my input, my thoughts and opinions about it, and I'm curious to know what you guys Excuse me. Let's see here. First off, for starters, with acrobatics, okay, and basically what they've done is they've taken three movement powers from each tree, and they've given each of those a debuff for the main roles for tank, healer, and controller. All right, acrobatics. Start off with a forward flip is now going to remove controller type shielding effects from one target, regardless of their role. Also, when the target is in controller role, their VIT is reduced, hampering their ability to restore power to allies and themselves. Let's see here. Moving on, throwing knives for acro. Now also removes tank type defensive effects from one target, regardless of role. Zip tie attack now also removes healing type shielding effects from one target, regardless of role. And when the target is in healing role, their ability to heal is reduced. Let's see here, with flight, whirlwind attack is going to be your controller nerf there. It's going to remove controller type shields, and it's also going to reduce their VIT. Swoop attack is going to be your tank debuff or buff removal. Actually, it's going to remove the tank type defensive effects from one target, regardless of what their role is. Let's see, downdraft is now also is going to be the healer debuff. It's going to remove the healing type shields, and it's also going to reduce their the restoration, their ability to heal if they're in healer stance. For super speed, vortex trap is now going to remove controller type shielding effects from one target, and it's also going to reduce their VIT if they're in controller stance. Cyclone Push is going to remove tank type defensive effects, just like Swoop does for flight. And Tornado Pull is now going to be your healer debuff. It's going to remove healing type shielding effects from one target, regardless of the role. And when the target is in healing role, their ability to heal is reduced. Now they've started up a separate discussion thread for this because everybody is like in an uproar about this. Because mainly their main concern with this is the fact that DPS are going to be, everybody thinks DPS are going to be gods. Now you see in this fight right here, I'm fighting a tank. I came out, started fighting a tank. I switched to tank stance, simply because, any tank, especially an ice tank who's running his main shields with the shield regenerative mod, right, is going to outlast the DPS. All right, unless the DPS is like really beast, like my buddy American Hero. he's a lot better at DPS 1v1 than I am. I ain't gonna lie. But I've admitted several times that I'm not that great at 1v1s. But here I am. I'm still putting in work with the shield. I'm losing right now though. But you come in here as DPS versus a tank. It can be very difficult, especially if the other tank has a good power management and all that. They're able to cycle out their shields because especially with ice, they're running with hard light shield, winter ward, shadow restraints, and I believe also that's 3 shields right there on its own. Then they got reflect. It's make fighting the ice tanks especially very difficult. I've run into some of the same issues with earth tanks as well. But so now, this is giving like DPS a fighting chance in 1v1s and everything. So I was like, I switched to tank stance simply so, he's going to see me in tank. I want to see him in tank. That's the way, that was my philosophy on it. But, but now, I could have, stayed in DPS stance if I wanted to and hit him with a swoop if I had it in my loadout, and I would have been able to stay DPS with this fight. That's mainly where I'm seeing these changes come into effect. Now a lot of people are concerned at the fact that there is no damage debuff. There's no way to debuff a DPS. I see where a lot of people are coming with that. On one hand, because people are wanting to be able to debuff the damage out that DPS do. And I do see where a lot of people are coming with that, but the majority of DPS that you run into in 1v1s, they're running with a certain loadout, alright? They're running with, they're run with their power shields, whatever shields they have available to them. Like you'll see a lot of ice DPS still run with Winter Ward, Shatter, and Reflect and Hard Light Shield. Um, it's like I'm pretty sure this guy I'm fighting here probably has the same loadout if they're in DPS stance for 1v1s. But they've got that regenerative shielding mod, and that you got that tactical mod in there on your hands and all that. You get heals from whatever shields you have up. So, and there's a lot of other powers that do this. Being able to remove those shields, though, even when they're in DPS stance, it balances things out. It balances things out. I mean, anybody who's ever watched my channel, has been watching my channel for a while now, knows that my main philosophy is 1v1s should be fought DPS versus DPS every time, all the time. Uh, I don't pull out anything in regards to like pets or switching to tank stance myself or anything like that, unless I see, or using a supercharge, unless I see the other guy do it first. So like, this guy, I came in here and he's in tank stance. So I was like, all right, well, I'm using my sidekick and my supply drop. And if he drops me after, this first encounter here, I'm going to switch to tank stance. And I'm going to still use him because, you're going to start, challenge me to a fair fight and then come out and start cheating right off the bat. You just threw all the rules out, so I'm using whatever I've got available to me. That's just the way I feel about it. So, anyways, back to this discussion here. I don't see this making DPS gods in arenas. I see this mainly affecting 1s and 2s, simply because, you don't have, all the opposing roles there. It's like, you go into a fight, 1v1, you don't have a healer there to debuff the tank. Or, remove the tank's buffs. Stole that barrel from him before he could hit it. So in order for a DPS to be prepared for every inevitability in 1v1s even, they're going to have all three of these powers available to them. And they're going to already have to be, most of the time, they're already going to have to be in their loadout in order to do it. So, how much of a DPS do you think these guys are going to be, though, with three other powers that they don't normally have? That they normally would have in their loadout. I honestly don't see a lot of people replacing vast, parts, half of their loadout with these movement modes, just so they can, be prepared to debuff anybody they need to in arenas, or in 1v1s or 2v2s. Especially these movement modes, because let's face it, these movement modes mainly they hit like cotton balls. So it doesn't. I don't see it happening that way with that a lot of people are talking about here, but in regards to like 4s, 5s, and 8s, I don't really see these being that prevalent in there. I don't see a DPS, in 4s, or higher, swapping out really anything in their loadout to debuff somebody. You may see, one power and all that. I honestly feel that healers are going to really get a lot of punishment now in 4s and higher, and especially in competitive matches. I really think healers are going to take the brunt of this update right now. Also, I believe tanks may actually start carrying around the healer debuff with them, because of that. So it's going to be interesting. Fortunately, there's a lot of people getting on the test server, from what I'm reading at least, and they are testing this stuff out. Testing out any possible exclusions to these new rules and everything like that. And I've been reading up on those and everything. As far as everything is concerned, though, I think people are just overreacting mainly because we didn't see this coming. We didn't know this was happening. This was like this came straight up out of the blue. When I saw these patch notes get posted and everything for the test server, I was talking to Maps, the community manager for the game, and I was like, "Where'd this stuff come from, man?" I was like, "'Cause I don't remember anybody ever talking about this." But you know, after running a lot of 1v1s and 2v2s, the past month or so and everything like that, I definitely see where this was needed because people were slipping into I mean in arenas. I mean there's no real set rules for these matches. There's nothing saying he couldn't come out in tank stance. There's nothing saying that I couldn't use my sidekick or my supply drop. But it's more of like a community understanding for that. But a lot of people don't respect that. So you see people like this guy come out in tank stands on me and then complain because I used pets and I used my sidekick and supply drop and I used sodas. I mean if you're looking for a straight 1v1 duel, I mean we can arrange stuff like that. But I mean, if you're going to challenge me to a scrimmage and come out at me in tank stance, I'm not going to respect whatever rules you think I should follow, nor should you respect any rules I think you should follow. If I come out and I drank a soda in the middle of the fight, but like I said, there's community standards and then there's what the game allows, and a lot of people have been using what the game allows whenever they're queuing up for lair duels or 1v1s. And all that to get their daily mark, get their weekly box and stuff like that. And I think that's the main reason why they introduced this here is to give like the DPS a little bit more of a fighting chance, especially against like the tanks and the healers out there. Controllers I usually have a fairly okay time against, depending on who the controller is. But for me at least, healers and tanks have been my issue. But anyways, I'm curious what all you guys think about this. We're bantering back and forth here in versus chat because he just gave up and lost. But I'm curious to know what you guys think, though, in the comments below. Let me know. What do you guys think about these changes coming up here? So like I said, I'll have a link for everything down in the description below for you guys to check out everything that's being tested on the test server right now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do so by giving it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Until next time, though, you guys all take care. Bye.